Hey guys, it's Tobin. Thanks for checking out the channel. Much appreciated. If you could, you guys subscribe over to the 560 WQAM YouTube page. Watch Tobin Leroy every single weekday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It is midnight, bright and early on a Thursday. Just got done watching a little Heat, little Kings Summer League action as Nikola Jović was kind of the big headline of today. Not as exciting as the last game. Certainly the Heat got a big help in a Keegan Murray today, who probably too good to be playing in Summer League. I got to be honest with you, but it had to be cool for the Sacramento Kings fan to watch one of their lottery picks go out there and just light up the Heat for a 40 piece. He was really good. I mean, he was giving the business to basically everybody. As far as the Heat's concerned, I thought that the big headliners for today were for sure Nikola Jović, and I would probably say the second best game goes to Jamal Cain if I had to pinpoint the guys. Not a strong effort today from Jaime Jaquez or Orlando Robinson as there was in the first performance. Oddly enough, Jaime Jaquez didn't really even play that much today. I don't know if that was by design. I'm doing this, but I'm not seeing the Caron Butler quotes, so I'll probably have more info on that on the radio show tomorrow. I'm not sticking around to watch Summer League postgame. You guys can excuse me on that one. But, Jaime Jaquez today, 1 of 6, didn't really have it going. There was one play where, Jovic finds him right under the basket, and he gave it off to, I think it was Gardner, one of the new Heat undrafted guys. And I think it was Drew Peterson, I think is that who he dished it off to when he should have just gone and scored. A little bit of overpass in there from Triple J. So not a stupendous game from your 18th overall pick today. Orlando Robinson kind of thought he stunk up the joint today too on both ends. He did get it and one on Keegan Murray. That was kind of his lone highlight of the day. But after a tremendous first game from him, not so much in this one. Jamari Bouye continues to look really, really impressive. He was a big-time catalyst for the Heat's comeback because it was basically all Kings, and then Bouye was a big reason why the Heat at one point had the lead in this game. Did get a little bit shaken up, so you're a little bit worried about his ankle on that, but Jamari Bouye continues to have a strong showing in the first couple of ones. But I think Jovic is the big headline out of today for a couple of reasons. I thought that pretty much everything up into his last stint, he looked, phenomenal. 3-point shot looked good. He just has such a way of trying to find his teammates and get everybody involved. And I know, you'll look tonight and say, oh, Tobin, he had 1 assist. Trust me when I tell you, he's trying to get guys involved. He's trying to be a connector for everybody out there. It just, it wasn't a very smooth game. And I think if you watch today's game on both ends of this, the Kings and the Heat, they had 18 turnovers in this game. Sacramento had 19. Very, very sloppy on both ends of these guys who don't really know each other. But, the game high on this one, I'm trying to see, I think 6 assists on Sacramento, 3 was the, 4, I'm sorry, from Bouye was the high on assists for the Heat. So it's just, there wasn't anybody really getting on the same page, and even if they did, they weren't connecting on those shots. So, but it was definitely noticeable. Jovic was 3 of 5 from downtown today, still doing a tremendous job of getting to the line. Super aggressive, putting his head down, getting fouled. So you're definitely noticing a couple of things. He has got a give and take on when to be physical, when to put his head down in transition, and when he can get to the line. And, and you could definitely see the confidence that he has in that 3-point shot is, it's I don't want to say it's night and day from last year, but it's, it definitely looks like it's evolved to just a much smoother place for Nico. So he looked really, really good for the most part in this game. The interesting part of it, I do think, and this is it, I'm not knocking him on this. He's just turned 20. But they really use in this game. He comes in with about, a little over 5, let's say 6 minutes left. And it is a 6-point game, I think, at the time. And he gets stopped going downhill. And the Kings turn that into a 3-pointer. He then gets it back, goes to the line, does a great job there. Gets a slot. He ends up getting a clear runway slam. Then he ends up on a rebound and on the break, gets himself back to the line. But so you started seeing them like they were going to Nico to try and close this thing out. But then, as a young guys to do, had like one where, probably had the first shot in rhythm, didn't take it, then kind of got an awkward one up. Couldn't get a rebound on Jones, which was a tough one. That was probably the back-breaking basket in that game. And then he had a late turnover. So he had some give and take. I mean, we saw some really good from Nico, but he also went through some growing pains. But it was very noticeable that they really put the ball in his hands late in this one and just said, look, we're in a tough spot. We're, down 7-ish points right now. Nico, what can you give us? And allowed him to kind of sink or swim. It wasn't enough to pull it through tonight. The Heat, I would say, definitely had some lackluster moments on second chance points against the Kings. Those, there were some critical turnovers and things like that. But I did like the fact that like they treated Nikola Jović like their go-to guy. And it's a lot different than Keegan Murray, who, played last year, was on all the rookie teams and all that type of stuff. Nico barely played last year, and he's getting his real chance here. And I think that's fun. I think that's cool. You're seeing a little bit of everything from him. And seeing that ability that he's got, especially offensively. I definitely think that, defensively there's and rebounding wise, there's still some things that, need to come together. But I think from using his physicality on the other end and seeing how that's grown, that's been a really, really encouraging thing to see through these first couple of Summer League games for Nikola Jović, should he be here and not be on his way to Portland in some kind of deal for Damian Lillard. But yeah, that was the that was for me the big standout of today. I think other than him, Jamal Cain, who didn't play in the last game, he played really well today. Gave you 17. A lot of them in transition, dunking on everybody, doing a lot of the things that Jamal Cain does. And I think that you see in those moments that you had last year with him, I think he's a very confident kid. Was doing good things in the G League in his stints with Miami when they were really, really banged up. Dude made an imprint. I mean, he really did not seem scared of the moment at all. So being on one of those two ways and, I think you think too, if a Caleb Martin does slip away, if a Caleb Martin gets banged up, if a Josh Richardson gets banged up, Jamal Cain can provide, you think some of that. I don't know if you quite have the defensive comfortability in him, but as far as like his explosiveness, his ability to do some things in transition, that stuff's there. I mean, that stuff is there for Cain Train, no doubt about that. So, definitely a more helter-skelter game from the Miami Heat and their loss. And now that I believe their next game is in, I don't know how the whole playoff thing for California Classic works. I imagine they lost. I imagine they're not doing that. So now I think their next game is in Vegas on Saturday against the Celtics. Winner gets Damian Lillard. I heard that's the stakes of the game. So no pressure, boys. The only other thing that really stood out from this game, I feel like I keep saying that as a reset, but not from a player standpoint. One other thing I will say, so I don't sound like a jackass. One more thing that stands out from this game: they're doing this flop rule, which was kind of crazy. They are giving technical fouls to floppers, and they did this on a couple of cases. One, Jovic, I forget who the player was who they called the flop on. But Jovic, Matt Barnes disagreed. Matt Barnes thought that Jovic had the offensive foul. They called the flop on one of the dudes on the Kings. So he got a technical foul. And then Jamal Cain hit a three, and they called technical foul flopping on Jamal Cain. Said he flopped on the follow-through. So then his three-pointer then cost the Heat a point because I think Keegan Murray got to go shoot a technical free throw. So that's an interesting thing to kind of keep an eye on for your Miami Heat. One other thing before we head on out and skedaddle for the night, Thomas Bryant got introduced today to the Miami Heat media. Josh Richardson did too, but I want to do something separate on Jay Rich because Jay Rich had a lot of Goosey's worthy things to say. So I'll get to that stuff, I think, later today. But Thomas Bryant was introduced, and this was his answer on just kind of why he wanted to come to Miami. And I liked it from Thomas Bryant.
It was just the want that they had for me. I felt that they really wanted me on this team, and just knowing throughout their history and the Heat's organization, their culture of what they do, and I feel for myself that I represent that culture of just being the most professional person that you can, holding yourself to a very high standard, especially in conditioning, and having your body right as well. Those are just things that I really stand for, and I feel like the Heat stand for it as well.
I love that from Thomas Bryant. That he's got this, just he feels like he fits in. He feels like he holds the values of a lot of the things here. I like the move, man. He's a very, very talented offensive player. Ira Winderman pointed this out in the interview, but I forgot about this. But Thomas Bryant's bad injury happened against the Miami Heat. He injured his knee against the Miami Heat, and now he's here. But I think a lot of people look at Thomas Bryant, they think of like the meme where, I don't know if it's a meme, but they think of the moment where LeBron is going for Kareem's record and he's calling for the ball in the post. But the guy can score. The guy can definitely score. The guy is a talented player. Thomas Bryant's what, 26 years old? Thomas Bryant, 25 years old. What would it be before the season? Okay, so it'll be 26 before the end of the month. Dwayne Dedmon was in his 30s, but very, very, dude, he's got very talented. He got a lot of offensive polish to his game. Definitely a score first guy, because he was talking about, like, he was asked about like what he's going to bring to the table, and all of it was scoring, which is great. I'm all for a guy who can, like, look, I will be all here for the guy that doesn't fumble the ball that Jimmy Butler hands him and can give you a little something, And in his time with the Lakers, he was averaging over 12 points a game. Had years in Washington, 13, 14 points a game. Like, the guy can score. He can score. I mean, he's got definitely some talent there. Can stroke it a little bit. He's got that from downtown to help with his arsenal. But I'm excited to see what Thomas Bryant can bring to the table. I think it's been an underrated signing. And I will say, as an aside, it was funny today. I don't know if people saw this, but Jusuf Nurkic, who is, of course, the Blazers center, played with Damian Lillard for a long time. But Jusuf Nurkic had this funny tweet where some dude wrote an article, Sean Highkin. He wrote an article, and just the headline says, if Joe Cronin is really prioritizing the future of the Trailblazers, he has to be prepared to send Damian Lillard wherever he can get the best offer, even if it's not Miami. And Jusuf Nurkic just responds with 2 laughing, crying emojis, which is funny. I mean, it is funny hearing everybody look at this. Like, I get the idea in theory everybody wants to go with. I'm not like, for the hot takers out there who want to say, well, you should just do this. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Like, your point is understood. In a vacuum, in a world where you're running an NBA team and there's no feelings, no people, no reputations, no working relationships that we have to do with, and also the players have no power. If we were living in that world, then okay, I'd hear you out. I'd be like, yeah, I get you. Get the best deal. If it was my job, I would want to get the best deal. Feelings be damned, right? I remember this with the Marlins when they had to trade Giancarlo Stanton, right? And the better deal, I think it was either San Francisco or or St. Louis. I don't remember which team. But he had no trade clause. The only team he wanted to go to was the Yankees. And you're just like, damn. Now I got you what you're going to say. Oh, Toby doesn't have a no trade clause. Yeah, I know. Nobody has no trade clauses in the NBA unless you have like a 1-and-1, and you get like a de facto no trade clause. Other than Bradley Beal somehow got a no trade clause. However, you do have almost in the NBA what's like a clout clause, right? And certain guys just got the clout to get what they want. And whether that be James Harden, whether that be Kyrie Irving, the list, you guys know the names, right? If anybody deserves that clout clause more than anybody, it's Damian Lillard. And I do like that even like Woj, who's been such a shill for the Blazers front office, even he today was like kind of coming around on some stuff. You saw the report from Marc Spears, who was like, there's several teams that kind of want to get in on this trade and get something in the midst of Damian Lillard. So this whole talk that, Miami's going to be stuck with this bag of crap. Zach Lowe had a great podcast today talking about, really, and I listened to this on the way to my kids' BJJ class, where he was just going over the offers, and he was even doing it with that Hollinger, who I'm not a big fan of, but even Hollinger's like, the Heat's offer is good, dude. Like, I don't know what other offers you think that are out there, because, you have this Celtics pipe dream that's out there, and they're not dealing Jaylen Brown, so I don't know, in what world they think they're getting to give up Jaylen Brown and get you're not doing that. They're not doing that. I'd be very surprised. The Philly deal, the Philly's a mess right now. And I just think that it's just funny seeing that, no, actually Miami's kind of got their biggest, I guess, issue right now is that the Blazers aren't super interested in Tyler Hero, but it feels like other people are, and that's going to get the Blazers more stuff. So, but I'm not going to lie, I do want this deal to happen, as soon as possible, because if it doesn't happen, you're going to see a crushed Tobes. One of the things I was doing today on Bleacher Report, they're like, hey, you got a grade. What is I'm like, I don't know what the grade of the offseason is, but I will tell you, it's kind of pass-fail for Pat Riley on this whole thing. If he gets Damian Lillard, it's more than pass. It's more like ace-fail. So it's like, if he gets Damian Lillard, A+ for Pat Riley. Doesn't get Damian Lillard, probably an F. Nikola Jović is going to have to be really, really freaking good for me to forget about not getting Damian Lillard this offseason, when Damian Lillard has made it very, very clear through multiple reporters and his agent and everybody that it was that he only wants to go to Miami, which I've only been waiting for the last 4 years since Jimmy's gotten here. Is one of these stars, just say you want to join Jimmy in Miami. Jimmy and Bam, please, 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 please. Somebody did it. Nearly one of my favorite players in the league. And I'm going to be very mad